Hi, my name is Taylor. I'm with TobbiCo-Host, joined here with my partner Aiden. And today we are going to talk a little bit about the hidden costs for Airbnb and managing short-term rentals. There are quite a lot of hidden costs that most people don't really think about when managing their short-term rentals. So we're going to get into it and talk about some of the biggest ones that can really affect your bottom line. So let's get right into it, starting with guest refunds. So this is one of the biggest ticket items that people don't really consider when managing or starting an Airbnb. And it's a really big deal because with guest refunds, things that are completely out of your control can cost you thousands of dollars. If you have a furnace that goes out in the middle of the night and a guest has no heat and it's 20 degrees outside, you're probably going to have to give that guest a full refund and spend thousands of dollars on fixing a furnace. If the cleaners drop the ball and didn't do a great job, you're going to have to probably refund the guest if they complain or if they threaten to leave a bad review. So things like this can affect your bottom line drastically. There are some things you can do to mitigate and avoid these costly mistakes. The biggest thing is if you can have as much eyes on your cabin as possible. Obviously, that's the best thing. If you're not in a position where you can get inside of your cabin very often, if you live remotely somewhere else far away, the best thing is to have your cleaner go and check on things and make sure everything is in good condition and good working order so that you can avoid these very costly guest refunds. That's the first thing. And Aiden, I want you to talk a little bit about some of the other hidden costs in Airbnbs because there is quite a lot of them.
Yeah, and definitely piggybacking off of what you said, Taylor, refunding guests is a huge hidden cost. I wanted to talk a bit about consumables. Guests always use things like coffee, paper towels, toilet paper, trash bags, you name it. And while those items aren't individually considered expensive, they really, really add up. So I think if you're managing 1 to 2 properties, getting consumables like toilet paper, paper towels, shampoo, conditioner, getting consumables from places like Costco and Sam's Club tends to do the trick if you have a smaller number of Airbnbs. But if you're managing more, let's say 20 plus, you should consider buying your consumables from a place like HD Supply, Uline, or even a local hospitality supplier in your area. You never know with the boom of Airbnb. There's a lot more creative places you can start buying your consumables in bulk. So really, I would just say that to put a pin in it. It's incredibly important to buy your consumables in bulk, and depending on the amount of properties, you can consider either Costco or Sam's Club, or if you have more properties than 1 or 2, you can go to Uline or a supply company that specializes in supplying consumables.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Definitely try to buy in bulk and save money when you can. And sometimes even the cleaner can cover these costs. It totally depends on the cleaner you're working with. We have cleaners we work with that do not cover the consumables. We have cleaners we work with that pay for everything. And that's why their fees might be a little bit higher. So it's important to, ask your cleaner if they can do that. Personally, I think it's better if they do. It's less that you have to deal with. It's one less moving part, and it's worth the money. So I would recommend that. But definitely, if you are funding those items yourself, get it in bulk and get creative so that you can save money. And it is definitely a hidden cost. But thankfully, with the hidden cost, there are ways that you can get in there and make more revenue with your Airbnb. And I want Aiden to touch on this a little bit. He has a lot of experience with upsells and getting creative to make you more money when, things like a $2,000 water heater hits you and you have to replace it last minute. So I'll let Aiden run with that.
Well, standard check-in time with Airbnb is 4 o'clock. Standard check-out time with Airbnb is 11 o'clock a.m. And those times somewhat fluctuate, but that's really what it is. 4 p.m. check-in, 11 a.m. check-out. There's an upsell opportunity right there. Guests love checking in early and checking out late, and you have the option as an Airbnb host to charge a fee for that early check-in or late checkout. That's a very simple way you can increase revenue without touching your nightly rate. Taylor, so there's that. There's the early check-in, late checkout. That's a pretty good way to add revenue. What else do you see? What other opportunities? Perhaps affiliate links or something, but just wanted to see what else you see as a way to increase revenue.
You definitely can increase revenue in a lot of different ways. The biggest thing that we preach at TobbiCo-Host and what we do that makes such a big difference is ultimately the dynamic pricing.
Mm.
It's a huge deal. Dynamic pricing is what gets you top dollar, and it's what gets you booked as much as possible. So it is quite a big deal to lean into dynamic pricing. If you don't know anything about it, if you want to learn more on how to be an expert in that, go ahead in the description of this video. We're going to have a link. Book a time with us. What Aiden and I do at TobbiCo-Host is we actually do free one-on-one support with people who manage Airbnbs or people who want to get into Airbnbs. So if you have more questions on that, definitely hit that link and go ahead and book a time with us. It's completely free. But moving on with other upsells, you can do affiliate links. You can create custom packages. You can do a firewood package. You could do, a couple's getaway package. You can partner with local businesses. So there's a lot of things you can do to get creative and almost double your current revenue compared to if you have no upsells in place. So while the hidden costs of Airbnbs can really add up and eat into your bottom line, there are a lot of things you can do to mitigate and to put yourself in the best position possible to not only deal with these problems, but to maximize your profit at the end of the day. So that's really what I have on upsells for today. We're going to talk a lot more about upsells in a later video. But Aiden, what else do you have to add to that?
To that, I would say the theme around increasing revenue for your Airbnb is creativity. You really need to be creative to find that revenue. And I love that you brought up the firewood bundles. I actually stayed in an Airbnb that offered this. It was a really cold day in North Carolina. We were staying in the mountains. It was about 20 degrees. And right when we walked in, there was a sign that said, just walk. It was like a 2-minute walk down the path. There was a place that had a deal with the Airbnb we were staying at that had a pretty good deal on firewood. So all that to say, creativity is the theme here. You really want to find ways to boost revenue based on your situation. Where my mind goes is if you have an Airbnb by the beach, going down to like the local surf shack and seeing if there's a way you can, put a flyer for a 10% discount that you can then get a kickback of revenue on. There's a lot of ways you can be creative with boosting revenue for your Airbnb. Restaurants, having restaurant flyers in your Airbnb, you name it. So there's a lot of options for you. You just need to be creative to find and unlock that revenue.
Yeah, definitely. Well said,
And
Aiden.
thanks, Taylor. And I have a question for you as well. This kind of goes back to the hidden costs component. Um, say you're doing a final walkthrough of an Airbnb and you have a guest coming in later that night. What are the things you're going to look for? What is there a checklist you would have, or what are the main high ticket things you're going to look for that you're just going to make sure, okay, this is set up, this is on point before my guest arrives?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely check the water heater. Check the furnace. Definitely make sure that it's running properly. Check the flames on the furnace. If you have a gas furnace, that can tell you if it's weak or going out. You definitely want to check that. Make sure that all of the outlets are working, that nothing has tripped itself, that everything is in perfectly good condition. Check the Wi-Fi. That's a big one. A lot of times you might not realize that your Wi-Fi goes down. Check the water temperature. Make sure the water gets hot. Just walk around, look at all the corners. Make sure there's no obvious dirt or any obvious spots that the cleaners missed, or if you're the one cleaning it, make sure there's nothing you missed. and kind of just act like a guest. Do what a guest would do. Open random drawers, go in random spots of your house, and just see if there's any imperfections. That's what I would say. Develop a checklist. It's going to be unique to you, and it's going to be unique to your situation in your home. But that's definitely what I would say. And that's going to wrap it up for this video. We wanted to just get on here and touch on the hidden costs, how we can improve on that, and how to make sure that the guest check-in experience is going to be really smooth. But Aiden and I, with TobbiCo-Host, we're going to be putting out a ton of valuable free content here on YouTube. So go ahead and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any questions. We'd appreciate a like. We're going to be coming out with a whole lot of good stuff here. So whether you're new to Airbnb or you've been managing an Airbnb for years, stick around. We'd love to have you. Aiden, any other thoughts before we get off of here?
That's pretty much it. I think that sums it up well. And the last thing I'd say is book a free consultation with the Calendly link in the bio. It never hurts, and we love to get on and just talk.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.